Hi, so I'm Sean Collins. I'm the CEO of MindTime, which is a program set for women and children who maybe struggle with anxiety, lack of confidence, and self-doubt to actually change that around and gain confidence. I'm also the joint owner of the Women's Diamond Academy. But today I have Miriam with me, who I worked with back in March time 2021. And it's absolutely a pleasure to have her here today to catch up with her as well. And at the moment, Miriam, because originally when we did the course, you were living in the UK. You're a dancer, actress, singer. She's so creative and so beautiful, as you can see. But you're currently in Japan.
Yes, yeah, I am currently living in Japan for a year and studying Japanese.
Oh my God, studying Japanese. So that is so amazing. And I can't wait to actually hear you speaking some Japanese as well. So I know
Thank
you
you.
came to us quite a while ago, and it's so lovely to actually see somebody when I've been catching up with my clients a little bit later on, so we can
Mm.
really see how doing the program, how it's fitted in further on down the line. But when you actually did my program, we were looking at anxiety, wasn't it? But it was holding you back a little bit.
Yes, very much so. I just come through depression, and when the depression went down, the anxiety kind of picked right up and skyrocketed quite a bit. And by talking to you about the anxiety, I actually managed to do my first proper stage performances. It was a staple of mine to listen to the recording as part of my warm up, actually, as well as every night after the session. And it really helped me with like some severe stage fright, but also I had serious issues with like self-confidence, with belief, and with self-doubt. A big part of me really thought, oh, I can't go on stage, I can't do that actually in front of people, like an audience that I don't know, all that kind of thing. And by working with you, I was very much able to do it, and it turned into one of the best experiences of my life. That was I was able to pursue. Thankfully, I'm very lucky that way. So it was very positive.
And I know actually doing the program as well, there was lots of changes which were happening. So it takes a little while for it to start. And once that kind of builds up momentum, I know that you were doing lots of auditions and you were feeling more confident and there were changes. But I know by speaking with you briefly, you've made some wonderful achievements, not only just being in Japan at the moment and finishing off your university course, but also actually working in the botanical gardens and in the UK, and doing lots of theatre work there as well, which sounds so interesting. With, did you say fortune telling?
Yes, so I'm Scottish, obviously, and I got a gig at the Botanic Gardens, the Royal Edinburgh Botanic Garden, for like their summer exhibition, which was also at the same time as the International Fringe Festival. And it was a kind of crossover between contemporary art and theatre work, where you got to work one-on-one with your audience members. And it
Mhm.
was in the guise of fortune telling, and there was some very beautiful and interesting stories that came out, but it was basically just creating with the raw material of the person in front of you and creating a connection directly with them. And it was also about climate change, so we were, instead of tarot cards, we were using oyster shells, and like the different colors and shapes could represent different things, but it was about having a deeper connection with the person in front of you and then being able to relate that to the outside world as well. It was a very beautiful project. I'm really grateful that I got to be part of it.
And you work on so many interesting things because again, I know that you're so creative and I'd love to actually see you in one of your shows as well one day. Definitely. I need to come to London to see you when you've come back from Japan as well. So like on a professional basis, as what you've said, so personally when you've actually been dancing and singing, which you wanted to kind of overcome that anxiety, how
Mm.
much would you say it's improved or benefited you professionally in what you do?
I would say it helped me, like extremely helped me. It's difficult to put into words how much, to be completely honest with you, because sometimes I doubt that some of the things would have, like the good opportunities that came my way would even have come my way, because I don't think I would have been ready yet if I hadn't worked with you. I
Mm.
genuinely don't know if I would have been able to progress the way that I have. That includes returning to university and actually being able to go to Japan. I actually revisit the recordings anytime I'm going to do a self-tape or do something with acting or dancing. I revisit the recordings because it really helped me, and it's nice to re-cement that as part of my personal warm-up. So I use it in a professional and personal capacity. But I think my life would have been extremely different if I hadn't had the recordings with you, if I hadn't had the sessions with you.
Oh,
It's been very beneficial.
and it's the work that you put in as well, because I know that you're committed to listening to those recordings and you took action as well, which is amazing. So that's professionally. So personally, as you were saying, how did it benefit you there personally?
Um, so I was having issues with all sorts of things, physically as well as emotionally as a result of the anxiety. Like, for example, my sleep wasn't very good, things like that. Listening to the recordings, I immediately started sleeping properly, which was wonderful. That was probably the first big physiological change that I felt. And then it helped me with things like nausea, and my hormones started to balance out a bit more because I wasn't feeling so anxious anymore. And then that benefited me a lot with my interpersonal relationships. Like, I actually began setting boundaries that I wasn't able to stick to myself before, things like that. And I would say that I have grown so much as a person. I hope I would have grown anyway, obviously, but I've been able to grow at a much faster rate because of them. It, yeah, I
Oh
hope
my
that
God,
makes sense.
no. No, absolutely, absolutely. So that's amazing. And this is what usually happens is you start making the changes where you notice a difference first of all, but it just keeps progressing. And I love it that you keep going back to the recordings when you need them. So you don't need them all the time, but it's nice to have that kind of reinforcement or that booster now and again as well.
Yeah. Yes,
Fantastic.
very much so.
Yeah, and I know for anybody who's actually watching, you might actually see Miriam at some point, either in Edinburgh or in the UK, because she's always back and forth. I'd highly recommend going to see her because I know that that's something I'm going to be doing myself in the future as well. But
Thank you.
for today, thank you very much for this recording. I know that we're going to carry on this conversation though after because I want to know more. But thank you very, very much for taking this time out as well. Oh, and just before we go, when you did actually connect to me, because I know that you were recommended to come to me by another person, what was it that attracted you to me? What was it that made you think I want to actually work with Sian?
I'm not gonna lie, at first the prospect, because I didn't know a lot about hypnotherapy, the prospect of it, I wasn't scared, but I was a little bit unsure. I was like, oh, we'll see how it goes. And then from the moment that I actually met you and you started talking, I just got the correct vibe. I hope that's enough to, like, I hope that makes sense. But for me personally, if the connection is there with someone, that's all I need. And the connection was very much there. You're very open and kind, and you actually listened, and it made me want to work with you for sure.
Well, thank you. And you know what? That's what I actually do with my clients, and I want them to have the connection. The same as if I ever work with anybody, I love to feel that energy first. Oh, I'm losing my voice because we've talked so much before this recording. So if anybody's thinking about actually coming on one of my programs and they're not sure, what would you say to them if they might be having self-doubt or maybe experiencing anxiety? What would you say to them if they weren't sure what to do?
Mm, I would tell them that genuinely, I can only speak for myself, my own experiences, but that I would actually genuinely highly recommend it, because these sessions help me in a way that believe me, a lot of CBT and other techniques and tools that I had in my toolkit simply were not helping me. I mean, you obviously already know this, but I had already been struggling with mental health for many years. I started journaling at the age of 15, and from the age of 15, I was journaling, I was meditating, I was seeing professionals for counseling through the NHS, and none of it helped anywhere near as much as this did. It was still helpful, it was good to have that in place, and they're important techniques, but it didn't help me the way this did. So for me personally, I would genuinely recommend this type of session, because I think it targets the core issue. It's not just a lot of talking, which can make things spiral and it's all up here and then suddenly it's too much and it's rather overwhelming. It gets to the core of the issue, and then you're able to actually target that and like, I guess, kind of retune or redefine your relationship with yourself, with whatever it is that's causing the anxiety. At least that's what I felt for myself. And at first, like you said, you see a big change, and then it just keeps rippling out from there. There are lots of smaller changes, and it just kind of keeps, the benefit carries through in your life. That's what I found anyway.
Wow. Oh my God. And thank you so much for sharing that as well. Because I know that you've also been invited to come to our Women's Diamond Academy, which we're very much looking forward to having your energy in that group of wonderful women as well. But for now, I'm gonna finish this because I do want to catch up about Japan as well. But thank you very much, Miriam, for catching up today and doing this interview recording. So I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.